Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Miriam and I'm from Denmark. Today we are going to paint this beauty, watercolor and ink, or you can also call it doodling, watercolor and doodle. So I'm looking forward to making this with you. If you have any questions, please write them down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But I would like to ask you a question, and that is, have you ever tried this before? Watercolor and doodle? Let me know down in the comments. But let's get started. Okay, so now let's take a look at the colors we're going to use. I chose Perylene green, olive green, permanent green, and Quinacridone gold. If you prefer to use some other colors, please feel free to, if you have some favorite ones. I've not used these together before in a painting, so it's sort of an experiment. But let's see how that goes. I've put masking tape on my paper to preserve the white border when I have finished the painting. I would recommend that you tape your paper down to a board, because we will probably be moving the paper around a little bit, lifting it up and in an angle and so on. And now let's mix our colors. I will paint 3 lines down the paper, and I wet the area I'm going to paint on first. I'm using a size 12 brush, big. You can use a mop brush if you prefer. It's nice to have water fast on the paper, so that's why I'm using a large brush. And I've mixed some olive green in my watercolor palette, and then I go along the line, or the edge of where I put water on, and then I dip in paint and allow it to flow into the rest of the paper. And some colors just flow out, this one didn't, so I have to help it a little bit. But I wanted to be darker here along the edge, and then I wanted to turn lighter when you go to the outer edge of the paper. So I go in with some extra water on my brush, and now I'm trying to tilt my paper a little bit to see if that will help it to flow, but yeah, it flows a little bit, but not enough, so I'm gonna have to help it a little bit with my brush. And make sure not to rub your brush on the paper, but go very gentle and soft. Don't do like that. Go gentle and soft. So now we will continue with the next line. And here I do the same thing again. I wet the paper, but I allow there to be a wide space between the olive green part and the next part I'm going to paint. So there will be like a white stripe all the way down. And yeah, then I wet the paper like you see I'm doing here. And then we're going to drop in some color. And I decided here that instead of mixing the colors in my mixing tray, I'm just going to pick it up directly from the pan. Then I will also get a nice thick paint on my brush. And I do the same thing again. I go on the edge of where I put the water, and then I put the paint on like this. I want the paint to flow, but like before, it's not very willing to flow, so I have to help it with my brush. I'm just cleaning my brush, and now it's just damp, and then I just help the color flow like you see me doing here. And now I'm going to paint the third stripe. And again, like before, I wet the paper with my brush all the way down. Now I'm putting the water up to the edge where the paint went to the Perylene green. So I'm not leaving a white space between them like before, but I'm just putting water up close up to the green where the green ends. I hope that makes sense. Then I go in with the Quinacridone gold. And I go along the edge again, and this is from the brand Core, so this is quite willing to flow. I'm gonna help it a little bit with my damp brush, but yeah. The colors from Core are quite willing to flow usually, so that can be a good thing, but sometimes you don't want it to do it, so then you have to be mindful of that. So yeah, and now I'm just using a damp brush to even the color out all the way down. The next thing we are going to do is to put paint into the leaves you see here. And I'm going to go in with the permanent green on these leaves. And I will just pick the color up directly from the pan as well. But I will wet the area first that I'm going to paint. So I take my large brush, and wet the area. You can shift to a smaller brush if you prefer, but I'm quite pleased with this one right now. So, and then I just drop in some of the green color, and then you have to decide how strong you want the color to be. Should it be muted or more strong? Or yeah, I'm deciding to put in quite a watery mix, and you can always come back later and drop in some more colors. So now everything is completely dry, and I found my ink pens, and I have them in different sizes from 0.1 to 0.8. It's just nice to have some different sizes to work with, but if you only have one size, that's completely okay. You can work with that as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the outlining. I'm going to outline the birds and the leaves, and then afterwards we will go in and doodle. But this is the first step, and you can see, like I'm doing here, we're going to do that all over the painting. And once we have finished that, I will come back, but I will pause the video, else it will be far too long. So see you in a little bit. And this is how everything looks after I have outlined everything. So your paper should look a little bit like this as well. And yeah, now we will begin to doodle. But first I am going to remove all the pencil lines from the paper. And I just grab my rubber and then get rid of all the pencil lines. They are quite hard to see because I did them very lightly, but just in case, I don't want anything to show through, so I'm just running over the whole paper with my rubber. And I will begin the doodling with making lines all the way down here, but I'm going to avoid all the leaves and birds and branches and only put in some lines where there's nothing else there. So you can see here what I'm meaning. And yeah, I'm just continuing to do that all the way down, but avoiding the bird and leaves. So in those places I won't make any lines. Like when we got here to a leaf, then I won't put in any lines in there. I'll just jump down to the next place where there's not a bird or a leaf or a branch like you see here. And yeah, I'm going to do that all the way down. There you see how that looks. So, but let's continue with the leaf. And here I'm just making some small circles, and I'm doing very small ones and larger ones. I'm just varying the size of the circles, and then I go in between the spaces of the circles and I just draw it black between, as you can see me doing here. And here I'm just going in, making some lines all the way down on this part of the leaf. And yeah, this is just doodling. Right now you just use your imagination and think about different things you can paint on the leaves. Here it's some swirls I'm making in this part of the leaf. So, and yeah, we're going to do that all over this painting. Here I'm going in with a thicker pen just to thicken the line down the leaf to define it some more. And here you can see I've been working on all the leaves in the painting. I've just put in different things on the leaves, and this one I'm just leaving like it is, and the two green ones I've put in a little bit of doodling, and yeah, this is how it looks now. But let's continue with the next part. So here I'm just going down the paper and making some, I call them sunbeams, but it's just quite a lot of dots. You begin with one dot in the middle, and yeah, here I'm showing where I want these to go down the page. But you begin with one dot in the middle, then you make some smaller ones around the middle one. The middle one will be the biggest one, and then you make the dots smaller and smaller around the middle, like you can see me doing here. And you can make these sunbeams, as I call them, large like this, or you can make them smaller. I will vary them down the page and make small ones and larger ones. And here you can see I'm just making a smaller one. So I will just vary them all the way down the paper. And then I will come back. So here you see them all the way down the paper. And I've left a white space down at the bird down below, and later on I will put in a quote here, because I felt like that would be nice in the painting. But now I'm going to paint the lower part of the beacon of the bird. I'm just going in and painting it black. I'm also enhancing the lines here with my ink pen. And I'm doing the eye now, and I make sure to leave a white spot in the eye. But if you don't succeed with that, you can always go in with a white pen, if you got one of those, afterwards, and make that sparkle in the eye. So it's not the end of the world if you accidentally make it all black. Or if you have a little bit of gouache, you can go in and make a little dot in the eye. And then I will continue here on the wing of the bird, or under the wing. I'm making like a shadow area by drawing a lot of small circles underneath the wing. I decided that I felt like the painting needed a little more paint. So I decided that I wanted to put some paint on the bird. So first I go in and wet the area, and then I will go in with the Perylene green afterwards. And yeah, give the bird a little bit of color on the upper side. So I go in with the Perylene green, and I just go along the edge and just allow the paint to flow out into the water. And like before, it doesn't feel much like flowing, so I have to help it a little bit with my brush. So I will wet my brush, and then I'm going to drag the color out a little bit. But I don't want the area to be too dark, so I'm a little careful not to splatter paint all over the place. But with painting like this, you just go with your intuition and just see along the way how you feel like it should be. So I think that's the thing about doodling, that you have to use your intuition and fantasy, and try out different things. And sometimes you succeed and you get a very good result, and sometimes it just looks like not so good, but you learn from all your mistakes, so don't be disappointed if your painting is not succeeding, because most of the time you learn something from it. So yeah, and I've just put a little bit of paint on the wing as well. So, and now I will continue with the next bird now that I have my watercolors. So I'm wetting the area I'm going to paint. I'm just going with wet water I'm just going with the water on the edge here and down to where I believe the paint should be allowed to flow. And then I drop in the Perylene green along the edge and let it flow out. I think I will just make a mix with the Perylene green here. A very light mix because I want to do a little bit of doodling with my watercolors as well. So now I have this very watery mix. Let's put it down here. Then I think I will make some small dots here with watercolor, just to help define the wing of the bird. And I think I will also make a little bit of definition here on the tail. And it's quite a watery mix of paint I'm using here. Okay, and what else could we do? We have this very bright green color up here. So I would like to put it somewhere else in the painting and perhaps even make it a little bit stronger. Just take some from the pan and put into the leaf. And here I'm working wet on dry. So now I wet my brush and drag the color down the leaf. And I think I will perhaps paint this leaf in the same color, but I will just wet the area first. And now I have found my 0.1 ink pen, and I will make some lines all the way down, but not on the birds or the leaves. So let me just show you. Oops. And the paper is still wet, so you have to be careful. And I will make several of these lines. And it's okay if they're a little bit wonky. That's completely fine. We are not aiming for completely straight lines. Okay, so at the moment I think there's quite a lot of white space here, so I thought about just writing in the word bird. You could also put in a quote or something like that. That could also be quite nice. And now I have doubts. Do I put in the word bird or do I write in a quote? I think I will write in a quote. So I decided to write in a quote and it says, "A heart without dreams is like a bird without feathers." It's by Susie Cassine. And I'm just using my own handwriting, and I'm mixing between big letters and small letters, and in some places the words are larger and smaller, and I just feel like this gives a nice effect. So now I will use my number 3 pen and just write it in with an ink pen. But let's continue with the doodling. I think I will do something here on the branch, and I think I will just make swirls like this, and I will make some larger and some smaller. And I will do this all the way down and all the way up to the top. So now I have just made the whole branch here, and I'm looking at the beacon on this bird, and I think I will do the same as the other one and just paint the lower half black like this. And I will also paint in the eye. Like that. I think I will do something here on the letters. So here I think I'll just go in and with my number 1 brush and just make some circles around the dots I've made before. I don't think I will put it around all the dots, but we'll see how things look. And I think I will also make a thicker line here, so it will be a little bit more visible, the outline of the bird here. I really like that, and I will do the same up here. Okay, I do feel like something is missing around here, so I'll go in with some more colors, and I've mixed up some of my olive green, the permanent green, and the Perylene green. Quite a watery mix, and I will make some dots out here, and I will just shift between the different colors. I will just make an area down here with just dots, and I want them to be lying quite close, so I believe I will go all the way down here. I believe, to around down here. And I'll just put in a lot of dots. Let's pick up some of the olive green as well. So I've made all the dots, and I think I will do as I did with this bird, paint some circles here under the wing to sort of tell that there's some shadow area here. And my pen is not working that well. See once we get started if it will work better. So when I make these paintings, I do it on intuition. I have an idea, and then I draw like I did with this, the main parts, and yeah, then when you begin to doodle, you can decide whether you want to put in some more colors like I did here. Felt like something was missing, and then you just work your way through the painting, and yeah, then you stop when you are satisfied. Just also put some lines in here. And you know, you could doodle you could fill out the whole bird with lines and squares and circles and yeah, triangles if you want to. It's completely up to you, and I think this is just so much fun. And when you have done this a couple of times or more, you will find out what you like and what you don't like. So I will encourage you to just let go and go wild. Because that's the way you find out what you like and what you don't like. So when you paint, you will always have paintings that you don't like, but you learn something from them anyway. So that's the good part, and that's why you should never give up when you paint. And also I would like to mention that every painting very often have an ugly they have an ugly state, and then when you continue to work on them, they very often get better and better, and in the end you have a very nice result. So again, don't give up when you paint. And also, even though it's really annoying, sometimes the painting just don't look like you want it to, but you know, you learn from mistakes. So, and I decided that I want to define this leaf some more, make it more visible, and I do that with my ink pen, and I'm making a thicker line around the leaf. This is my 0.5 pen. My number 3 pen, and I think I want to make these leaves a little bit heavier, so I will make some lines here, and I will find my thickest pen, and I will just fill out some of the lines here. I decided that I wanted a little bit of gold in as well, so I got this Pilot gold ink pen. I also have this one from Faber-Castell, Metallics Heart of Gold it's called. That's quite a nice pen too, but today I will be using this one, and I think I will just try and see how it would look if I made some of these sunbeams. So I am quite pleased with this now, so I'm thinking let's remove the masking tape and see how that looks. I'm using my hairdryer to do the job, then I won't tear the paper. Normally I won't, because it softens the glue in the masking tape. So let's do that. So that was it. I think this is quite a pretty painting with a limited color palette, and you could go much more wild on the colors if you preferred that. But yeah, this is just my style. I would love to see how yours turned out, so if you feel like it, I have a Facebook group called Miriam Thomsen Art Studio Community. So feel free to join in. I would love to see your creations. Well, bye for now. Hope to see you again in another video.